I can't say enough about his camera. I have had this for a year now, and have 3 GM lenses now. While I am not a professional by any means, my family thinks I have become one with the quality of photos I am taking. You can find about 1 million lessons and reviews online that detail all the features on this camera. This review is just me and a general overview of what I think about the camera. That being said, amazing camera. Will do just about everything you expect it to. Build is excellent with one minor exception if you are a perfectionist. The doors that cover the USB ports are slightly flimsy, and I noticed that when I placed the camera on the table you could break off the door if you are not careful. That being said, the battery life of the camera has much improved. I purchased a second battery but have yet to use it, spent a day at the Philadelphia Flower Show and one battery got me through the day. This is not a camera to use on automatic. If you love playing with different lighting schemes and layouts, taking portraits and taking tons of pictures and exploring different ways of taking pictures, then you can't go wrong with this camera. If you want to spend a ton of money on a camera and use it on auto, look at the Sony RX series. Video is also excellent and I have started using a lot more. I was always a still photographer, but this camera has much more flexibility in the video area, and if you vlogged you won't be disappointed, and I am an amateur videographer. While I now have native Sony lenses, you can use other lenses from your collection, just remember you will need adapters that may not. Many companies are now jumping on board with this camera, and you can find some great lenses for decent prices, or you can go all out with the G Master line. I also like the Bluetooth function of pairing with the phone to add location data. Helps out a lot when sorting by location. Transfer of photos to phone via wireless has improves as well if you like to get your photos out quickly. Menu functions are still a little clunky to use, but there are enough custom buttons on the phone that you can automate your favorite actions to quickly get a great shot. The eye and face autofocus. I don't need it, but it is cheaper with the same bells and whistles, mostly with less megapixel than the a7R III. I am waiting on the next firmware update to see what they can do with this series. You can't go wrong with this camera in the bag. However, if you are a Canon, Nikon lover, don't sell all your equipment, just add this to the pile with an adapter and you will do fine. This camera is incredible. If you're into macro, landscape, or street genres, this is the one to get. I really wish I could share a link to the full uncompressed raw resolution files I have posted on my WordPress. You really have to view the images on a very high resolution display, or crop heavily and print in large format, to truly understand how incredible this camera is. If you just want to post to Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, and want heavily crop and print, or pixel peep, definitely save some money and step down to the a7 III or one of the a6XX cameras. The B is a crop of the larger shot, and even printed 8x10, it's tack sharp. I got the a6500 about 2 years ago, and got a really good deal on a Zeiss macro lens. I'd always been a hobbyist, but could never afford more than an all-in-one. After seeing the results I was getting with that combo, I really got into the hobby. After some friends started to compliment some of my shots, I decided to start exploring what I could do if cost wasn't really a factor. The images I've attached are all shot handheld, except the Eagle, which was at 5 to 600 mm. The Ibis is fantastic. What's most amazing to me is how fast it still is. I was a little worried that coming from the speedy a6500, I'd be disappointed in AF speed. But that's not been the case at all, and you can still get enough FPS to shoot anything but the fastest action sports. Basically, if you're not worried about rolling shutter for one of the rare cases that can be an issue, this will definitely be fast enough. I really, truly, love this camera. With the A6500, I would get results I was really happy with. With this, I am honestly more motivated and get out to shoot, and really have a new level of pride and joy from what I create. Since Sony is adding real-time tracking and animal features to the incredible IAF feature, it's actually still getting better. To stop gushing, there are some downsides. 2008 called and wanted their terrible touch experience back. The menus are about as intuitive as the worst IKEA manual ever. Maybe this is just me, but I hate the positioning and lack of locking on the exposure dial. It's so easy to mess up exposure if you don't notice you've moved it. I really wish the lock from the mode dial was on the exposure one, but that's probably because this is a pro camera and I am still getting used to shooting more manually instead of in auto. Speaking of that, the reason I still rate 5 rather than 4 stars is basically Mark Gaylor's alpha creative skills. Click link in description for more reviews.